Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames. Today I have for you a deck donation from Ill Intent. This is Rakdos Madness. They said play whatever Rakdos Madness list that you want, and so I took a standard Rakdos Madness list and I made it worse, which is just how trying out new cards basically works. So we're trying out a couple not new cards, but cards new to the deck that I wanted to try out that I think could be cool. Skophos Reaver is one that Madness is for 2 mana, which I understand is more expensive. Everything you generally want to be Madnessing for 1 mana. We're going to try it out because it is a 4/3 for 2 mana, essentially. And we're specifically trying to go a little heavier on the creatures for this deck. I know one of the benefits of Rakdos Madness is that it doesn't play a ton of creatures, so your opponent's removal is not great. But we're going to try to take that preconception and spin it on. But we're going to try to take that preconception that people have about the deck, spin it on its head a little bit. So we play a couple Skophos Reaver. I'm also playing Basking Rootwalla, which is obviously green, but and we're playing Basking Rootwalla, which is green, but it madnesses for 0 mana, and we're never going to activate that activation. Just like a Sneaky Snacker, it's another card that we can just get back for free, but we actually can't hard cast. So ideally, we're just trying to flood the board with a whole bunch of creatures really quickly. Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today I have for you a deck donation from Ill Intent. Thank you very much for this. They said that they wanted me to play a Rakdos Madness list of my choosing, and so I took the standard Rakdos Madness list and I made it worse, which is basically what you have to do to be able to try new cards, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're trying out a few new cards. The idea here is that I'm trying to up our creature count, go for more of a creature-based Madness deck. Now, one of the benefits of traditional Rakdos Madness is that you don't have very many creatures, meaning your opponent's removal is a little bit wasted. But we're going to try to take that preconception about the deck and spin it on its head, so ideally our opponents are not expecting the removal to be very good, and so maybe they take some of their removal out, and then we're able to capitalize on that a little bit. So some of the cards we're playing are Skophos Reaver, which is 2 mana to Madness. I know that's more expensive than you generally want, but it's basically a 4/3 for 2, which can be really, really strong. So we're playing a couple of those. We're playing Basking Rootwalla, which is a free creature if you madness it, which is another creature just like Sneaky Snacker that we're never actually going to be able to cast, but it's another creature we can pump out early. We could, even if we get lucky enough, Faithless Looting on turn 1 to get a couple Rootwallas going. And then we're playing Distemper of the Blood, which is target creature with +2/+2 and trample until end of turn for 2 mana at sorcery speed, but you can madness it for 1 mana, and obviously you can madness it at instant speed. So we have, of course, our blood tokens from Valdar and Epicure and Vampire's Kiss to be able to do that at instant speed. Because of that, I've also switched out the Highway Robbery, which is generally better for Demand Answers, because this is a way that you can discard a card at instant speed, so you can get that as a combat trick. And I'm realizing we should actually probably be playing a couple artifact lands for the Demand Answers in case we want to sacrifice them. We're not playing Galvanic Blasts, so we don't need a ton, but I'm going to swap a couple of those out real quick. The goal is not enough artifact lands to make it so our opponent wants to bring in artifact removal, can really hose us, but just enough so that we'll often have one if we need to Demand Answers a land rather than discarding a spell. And finally, because we're going wide with creatures, we're trying Rite of Initiation. This is the reason that I want to make this work. Discard any number of cards at random for a single red mana. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn for each card discarded this way. So if we even just have 2 or 3 creatures and we discard 4 or 5 cards, we can just hit in for a ton of damage. And generally, Rakdos Madness is a deck that keeps a lot of cards in hand because it has so much card draw that it shouldn't be too hard to be able to deal a lot of damage with this. But we can also just use it potentially to madness a bunch of our cards for just 1 mana, using it kind of like a Faithless Looting that just discards our whole hand. If we just happen to have a handful of Rootwallas, Fiery Tempers, and Kitchen Imps, and the Imps have haste, they will actually enter the battlefield before the Rite goes off, so it will still give them the pump. Now, if we madness like a Skophos Reaver or a Rootwalla, they're going to get the pump, but they're not going to have haste. But that's something to keep in mind with the Kitchen Imp. Other than that, it's your pretty standard deck. We have some Faithless Lootings, Vampire's Kiss, Demand Answers, Grab the Prize, Sneaky Snacker. I did have to cut some of our standard burn and other cards for these inferior cards that we're trying out. But ideally, it will prove interesting. We also have a 1 of Bajuka Bog, 4 Jagged Barrens, our basics, a couple Rakdos Carnarium, and a Razor Trap Gorge for our sideboard, Dark Withering, Arms of Hadar, Extract Confession, Duress, Cast into the Fire, and the Festivities, and some Nihil Spellbombs. So let's take it into a league and see if we can do something interesting with this list. Also, if you want me to play one of your decks, you can do a deck donation on my Metafy. Go ahead and check the link in the description. I also do coaching if you want help playing Black Sack, Esper Cryoblade, or any other deck, or if you just want to give me money on a monthly basis to support the content that I'm already putting out, you can do that as well. Thank you very much. All right, no lands, not going to cut it. 1 Great Furnace. We actually have a hand all of Madness and cards we want to discard, so like Rite of Initiation on turn 1 could be interesting. We could get a Root Wall and a Snacker in the graveyard. Obviously, it's not going to be good enough because we don't have the way to madness these imps. But if we had like a black mana or two, this might be a good one to keep. All right, here we're going to keep this one, and we're going to get rid of the Rite and 1 Kitchen Imp. Obviously down to 5, not where you want to start out. Against Tron with a Candy Trail starting, also not great. Grab the prize. We're going to play an Epicure and pass. We do need an extra mana, more than just this blood, to madness this Skophos Reaver, or we need a black mana for this Kitchen Imp, so things could look pretty awkward here. We get to grab the prize. It's annoying because I kind of do think Skophos Reaver could be really good against them. Just consistent damage. So I might just keep that over the Kitchen Imp. We gotta cast something here, so I'm gonna grab the prize with this Kitchen Imp and just not be able to madness it. Obviously, this would be far better as a Sneaky Snacker or a Root Walla. There's our Root Walla for next turn. If we can get a land, we can Faithless and madness both of these. They have a Pylons, so no natural Tron is nice. And they leave the card on top, play a Wizard's Rockets, and Prism. Rockets probably means that they are Eggs or Altertron, I would guess. Rite of Initiation could be pretty good next turn with these two. Unfortunately, Faithless, we don't have the mana for the Reaver, so this is kind of awkward, in which case I think we just grab the prize, the Root Walla, but every turn the Reaver isn't on the board is pretty unfortunate. We will certainly cast the Root Walla. Deal them 2. We do get a Swamp. Attack for 1. And pass. So next turn I can Faithless, Reaver, and then I can maybe Rites of Initiation if we're not dead by then. Play a Swamp, and they just have a Crypt Rats in their main deck. That's pretty annoying. They just activate right away. I guess that's not the worst thing ever. It is a pain. Grab the prize, but we want to get this Reaver down, so we're going to Faithless, hope we find another Root Walla or a Snacker to discard. Just a land. So Reaver and I guess probably the other looting. So cast that, play a Mountain. It's also possible I want to keep some number of lands for the Rite of Initiation, but right now with grab the 4 mana is pretty important if we have Reavers with grab the prize and stuff like that. They have a map, so they can find Tron this turn and have 5 mana left with the Prism. I guess if we could find a Kitchen Imp for grab the prize, like if we draw it right here, we could grab the prize and then Rite of Initiation. That could be a lot of damage. Root Wall is not bad, but it doesn't have haste. We're still going to do that in case we get a Kitchen Imp. We could play it with the Blood Fountain, or Blood Token rather. Cast the Root Wall, paying them for 2. We do find the Kitchen Imp, so let's do that. Hope there's no Crypt Rats again, or just, a lethal combo here. And we attack for 6. We have a Jagged Barrens. They're at 6, plus we have a Rite of Initiation, so could be okay if we don't die. They do have a lot of mana though, and just to Weather the Storm is annoying for 12 life. We do have 7 damage on board, and every card we discard with the Rite is another 3. So if we discard 4 cards, which is going to be tough with only 3 other ones in our hand right now, we could kill them. And of course they just have the Fangren Marauder. Sack the Wizard Rockets, they gain 5. They're low-ish on cards, so if they run out of cards, we could maybe get there. They have another Rockets, and feels like another Weather the Storm. No, they just pass. Okay. Mountain. So I could swing with the team, and if they want to block, then I could Rite of Initiation. But if they block the Root Wall, I can't do anything about that. Feels like maybe I just want to Faithless Looting first. I guess I should probably play this Carnarium, pick up a land, and then looting. We just hit 2 lands, or rather a land and a looting. Let's get rid of these 2. Let's swing. They don't block. I'm only dealing 7, and I said 3 per, so that's 9. So that's 16 damage. They go to 7, but they have at least a way to gain some more, so I don't think we do that. I think we just hit them with the Vampire's Kiss, and then pass. And if we get a couple runner madness spells with the blood tokens, that can keep us well stocked. No Snackers has been a little annoying. Crack the Rockets to turn a bunch of colorless mana into green and black. Gain some life. Play a Prism. Play another Prism. Eviscerator's Insight one of them. There's a Blood Fountain. Guess they're not running out of artifacts anytime soon. Up to 29. Thing is, I really think we could still win here if they hit a rough patch and we're able to get a couple more creatures on the board. Rites of Initiation can deal a whole lot of damage, but we are pretty close to scooping it up. They're going to attack for 5 because they're not planning on blocking. Then they have a Weather the Storm. I mean, it's just 52 life. What's the worst that could happen? There's an Epicure. Let's flash back a Faithless Looting. We finally find a Snacker and a Mountain. Here's an Epicure. I'm going to play creatures, but otherwise we're going to hold stuff in hand, I think. I guess I can get back a Crypt Rats with the Blood Fountain, and if they wipe the board, then I'll probably concede. Play a Spell Bomb. All right, they play the second second Fangren, I guess we'll call it there. So we get Graveyard and removal as well as wastable up artifacts, Duress. Dark Withering for the Fangren seems good because we don't have. We cut some of the regular burn like lightning bolts in the decks. Obviously, it'd already be a hard one to kill, but I think Dark Withering seems really good. I guess Extract can also do that. Distemper of the Blood is mostly trying to be like a combat trick, since they don't have a lot of creatures. The one they have is Fangren Marauder that we've seen. And they're not going to block with it almost ever. I think that doesn't seem super good, but Rites of Initiation could still be a good win con, I think. We can cut maybe one of these because of that. Maybe Duress isn't what we need. I guess Duress can take a Weather the Storm. Maybe Cast into the Fire is not what we need. Dark Withering and Duress seem okay. And I mean, Fiery Temper's a burn spell, but it doesn't kill anything, so it's kind of just like a bad Alms of the Vein, which obviously we cut Alms of the Vein because it doesn't kill creatures. Let's try that. On the play, this is a lot of land, but a lot of draw spells. This might just be bad, but we'll give it a try. Feels like we should be able to find something, right? They mulligan to 5, so that might be able to help us. I'm not just going to Faithless Looting here. If we do any Brood Scales or any Root Wallas or Snackers we find is really good, but everything else is kind of just medium or bad. If I draw one on my first or second turn, maybe I'll do it turn 2. But we'll play a Mountain and pass. They have a Candy Trail. We do find a Snacker. So I could just demand answers, get the Snacker down right now. Means we don't have black mana yet. We have to wait another turn for that. But I think it's probably worth it. Discard, bring it back. Root Walla next turn is pretty cool too. They have a Wellspring. And Epicure's a great draw as well. So I can Faithless, Looting, Root Walla, play an Epicure, and then play a Jagged Barrens. Let's do that. We hit another Snacker. That's pretty good. Cast the Root Walla, play an Epicure, attack for 2. So I want a Jagged Barrens here, but I could actually Carnarium, because then next turn I could Carnarium again to keep our cards in hand count high, which could be good for this Rite of Initiation. So let's actually do that. Because if they just like tap out, we could probably just kill them with Rites. Because it's plus 15 if we discard 5 cards, plus what we have on board. They do crack the Candy Trail, so they're at 20. So that would only be 19. But they only have colorless mana. So I could get 19 right now and just hit for a bunch. That seems bad. They go to 1, but then if I have nothing, it's kind of rough. Let's flash back this Faithless Looting. I guess if I'm tapped out, that doesn't seem good. That doesn't do enough. 15. Yeah, I think we just wait one more turn. Hopefully they don't find anything. They didn't have anything this turn, which is pretty good. So let's just swing. Oh, I should have Faithlessed first, because we could have found a Kitchen Imp here. We get our Snacker back. We find another Snacker and a Mountain. So that comes back. And then we have Grab the Prize. Can bring this back next turn. But I also have a Faithless in graveyard. Let's just not waste our mana. Let's discard this Vampire's Kiss to hit for 2. And I'm still just going to play this Carnarium to bounce the Great Furnace, just to keep our card count high in case they kill a creature or have a blocker or something. Although one blocker, I can also now kill that with Dark Withering. We'll still have 15 plus damage with the right here, plus the 6 damage on board. And I mean, they didn't have anything for colorless mana last turn, so they need to have drawn something. They did draw Swamp, so they can play something for black. Yep, there's an Insight. But they have to draw a non-land way to make colored mana, or just, yeah, play some artifacts. They're just going to pass. I cannot think of anything they could have here. So let's just attack. And Rite of Initiation to discard our hand. I'm not going to Madness the Dark Withering and blow up our own creature. We'll just put them to -12. All right. They did stumble a little bit, but that still was a turn 5 win, pretty decent. Even without the Rite of Initiation, we were 4 creatures on board dealing 6 damage, which is pretty decent. All right, we have a Duress. We have a couple pretty awkward Madness creatures, or cards, because this is 4 mana with the Grab the Prize, and this is just not something we want until later. But we get to Duress them turn 1. They're already in a mulligan to 6. Then we get to Grab the Prize just to draw. I think we'll keep it. We definitely need some better draws here, but they start with a Candy Trail. Ideally, we can snag like a really important map or prism or something. Scry 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. We're just going to do that right away. There's a map. They have Forest Swamp. So I could take the map, probably the best bet. Or I could just take the card draw, because then they have nothing. I think I want to take the card draw. Like if I take the map and then they topped one of the cards and one of the lands, they can just draw into the other one. It doesn't do as much. They did top a tower. There's the map. So now they just have lands. I don't know. That feels better to me. Faithless Looting. We're going to keep that for next turn for the Reaver. So I think I'm just going to Grab the Prize with the Dark Withering here. We're going to really want it if they get a Fangren, but Rite is looking decent with the Scophos and even just one other creature. And I don't want to discard a land. I also just want to discard for damage. So we're going to do this. There we go. So Epicure. So that's 2 creatures with Right can be really good. Play a Swamp. They duress us. Okay, that's fine. They'll probably take the Right because we have redundant Faithless Lootings. Not great, but not the worst thing. Certainly a better draw for them. A better draw for us for them to get than like, you know, something else, card draw or whatever. Now they'll crack the map, or maybe just the Candy Trail. Yeah, they should do it now so that they have more mana for the Candy Trail next turn. I guess we hope for a Root Walla for another creature to put on the field. Epicure is decent. Let's just get our 4/3 down though. Root Walla or Snacker would be our best. We get a Root Walla, nice. So we get to double Madness here. Cast a Reaver. Now I really wish we still had that Rite of Initiation. But we're attacking for 5 now. Next turn we get to put down 2 Epicures. Seems alright. They crack the Candy Trail. 2 unknown cards. They play a Spell Bomb. That could take away our Faithless Looting, but they're probably going to hold it for something better, like a Snacker. So we're just going to attack. I think I'm just going to put down 2 Epicures in this Jagged Barrens. Deal them as much damage as we can. Also, if we do find our... I guess we only have 2 Rites in the deck, so if we find our other Rites, we can just win next turn pretty much. They might just crack the Spell Bomb with an Insight. Okay, yep. They're desperate. They're not even able to draw a card off of that. Additional card, that is. There's a Prism. We knew they had Crypt Rats from before, so this could be rough. They could play it and do it for like 1 right now, but until they find a, what's the Wizard Rockets, they're not going to be able to deal more than a couple. Now I guess multiple Prisms, they could maybe do it next turn. And there's a Forest. Another Prism. I mean, they're getting out of this a little bit. Well, they're drawing some cards. They could still be drawing duds. I wouldn't say getting out of it yet, but we do have 7 damage here. 7 damage. I think we're going to demand answers, sacking the Furnace here, or maybe just a blood token. No, I think the Furnace is fine. If we do find the Rites, we want as many cards in hand as possible. Double Barons, not the best. I mean, it deals a little bit of damage, but I kind of just want a Faithless Looting in case we get like a Kitchen Imp or something. Just in case we get 2, I guess we'll play a Mountain first. This means we don't Barons, but there's a Root Walla and another Looting. We have Lootings in our graveyard. I think I'll get rid of the Looting. Cast the Root Walla. Attack for 7. Also, we cast, what, 3 cards, so they could have a Weather the Storm. And, I mean, we weren't killing them this turn anyway, but we probably should have. But they have a Moment's Peace. That is annoying. We did not bring in our Graveyard Hate. I guess the Weather the Storm would be worse, although Moment's Peace can be flashed back, so maybe that's not true. Alright, we're going to pass. We're definitely more susceptible to Moment's Peace since we're playing more creatures, which is unfortunate. They're going to Offering a Prism. There's a Wellspring and another Insight. Draw some cards. This version is definitely a little slower and less explosive, which is probably what you want against Tron, is to be more explosive. So, probably worse here. And they go for a Weather the Storm over holding up the Moment's Peace. I guess if we get the perfect Rite of Initiation, maybe we can get there. But currently it would only be plus 10, so that seems unlikely. There's a Kitchen Imp. That's pretty good. That is a good draw. And to grab the prize, discarding a land is not amazing. We're attacking for 10 right now. Part of me thinks we're not going to get much out of discarding cards, so we should maybe just wait. But if I draw new cards, if I wait until next turn, then I might just not have the mana to do anything I want to then. Or we just get a whole bunch of lands. Let's ping them and attack for 10. There's the Fangren Marauder. We did discard one of our Dark Witherings way earlier. We have 1 left. We also haven't seen any of our Fiery Tempers, so if we can get 2 of those. Map onto the Marauder, just to gain 5 life, is pretty good. Reveal a Candy Trail, that's obviously staying on top. Play a Wellspring. Play a Candy Trail, that'll put them to 30. And then they Weather the Storm for a pitiful 12 life. We get a Snacker, so let's bin that. Right, that blood token gives them more stuff. Play a Great Furnace, Flashback, Faithless Looting. We find a Kitchen Imp, we're going to cast that, and we're going to attack with everything. They can block here safely, but they don't necessarily know that. I could have a Bolt, probably not going to risk it. Again, just like last time, I think we have probably are not going to win. I guess with their having 2 Eviscerated Insights in their graveyard, we probably can't get there. But if they didn't have those, if they just had they could just draw really poorly, And a Rite of Initiation is plus 8 per card discarded. That's a lot, right? All right, well, I think we gave it our best try, but I don't think we're going to get there. All right, round 2 here. We have 2 lands, a little slow, but a good amount of damage. We need a couple more lands. Maybe we can get someone with this Distemper at some point, though. Ping for 1, and something blue. Play an Epicure, just keep pinging. There's a Brainstorm, and we get a Great Furnace, so I think I just swing for 1, pass with our Reaver blood token up for next turn, rather than playing into their counterspell now, or if they fully tap out, I'll do it at the end step. They Mental Note and Thought Scour, so that means they have 6 spells in their grave. Oh, I don't think I passed priority there. I meant to cast the Reaver on the end step. Oh, we don't have a stop on our end step because this is the DB account. That's annoying. In that case, I'll activate it now, but I had passed priority after the Thought Scour, but then you're supposed to get priority one more time, but you don't if you don't have a stop on your own end step, which is not there naturally. So this doesn't look great into a Terror. Distemper does let him trade, but it still only makes it a 5 toughness, which is kind of annoying. They counterspell it anyway, so it's not a big deal. Do get a Faithless Looting and a Kitchen Imp, so I'm going to Faithless. Worst case, we can discard Distemper and Kitchen Imp. I would love something better than the Distemper at this point, like a Snacker. Or I could save Snacker for later, but then I could... because I guess I would be wasting 1 mana this turn. Fiery Temper could be used later. I guess I am going to do the Distemper. Because the combat trick against Terror is not going to be super relevant with like our 1/1. And Fiery Temper can get them later. Snacker I can discard with this Demand Answers, so I think we are going to do these two. So cast a Kitchen Imp and cast Distemper and attack 4/5. They're at 11. They go for the Brainstorm. Yeah, imagine if I had that 4/3 down. I mean, they would have had Counterspell for this turn, so things would have been different, but I could have hit in for a good amount of damage. There's a Ponder. I guess they're still looking for Terrors. Otherwise, I assume they would just be playing them and holding up counter magic, but Ponder means they're still looking for them. Or they're looking for like removal for these guys, I guess. There's a Serpent. I can hold back the Epic here. Another Faithless Looting. So Demand Answers gets back my Snacker, but they could have a Spell Pierce for it. Whereas if I Faithless Looting, they can't, although the Snacker doesn't come back yet. Yeah, I think we're going to Faithless. We'll do it now just in case we get a Kitchen Imp. Rites of Initiation. I mean, that could just win us the game, right? Because if I discard these two, we have 4 other cards, which means this would be 6 damage. These would trade, plus I could Fiery Temper them. So they'd go to 2, but I'd lose every card in my hand. That kind of seems bad, so I don't think we're doing that quite yet. We're discarding Snacker and Fiery Temper, though. But Rites for next turn could be pretty good, with 2 creatures in the air. It just makes it so we might have lethal. They do have the Spell Pierce, so I played around that nicely, which means I also get to Vampire's Kiss them now. Or I could just Demand Answers now, but that doesn't deal damage. It does get us more cards for the Rites, but also holding Demand Answers for Sneaky Snacker could be good, or getting the blood tokens for the Snacker next turn could be good. Cycle Alorian in their upkeep. Play an island. They're going to attack. Means they probably have another creature, or they're just okay with the 1 damage, which could bite them with the Rites. They have another Serpent. Hold up counter magic. Another Demand Answers. So this is +3, so this could be 5 damage. I kind of want to Demand Answers, but then they just have a counter spell. So maybe I just blood token away Answers to get our Snacker back. Plus maybe find something else. Epicure's not bad. Play that. See if they want to counter. Swing for 2. And I guess now I should just... I want to get the Snacker back. I guess I get rid of the Answers, because Vampire's Kiss just deals them 2. We have 2 lethal attackers, or 2 power attackers. We're going to hold the land in case we want it for the Rites. We Brainstorm, and we win the game. I assume they were like Brainstorm locking themselves, or just didn't see what they needed, but that was pretty decent. We don't have any Pyroblasts, I'm realizing, which is fine. We have Extract, Duress, or Spellbomb, whichever ones we want. I think we're supposed to be just faster than their creatures, ideally, so I don't know if we want Extract. Plus we have some chump blockers. I think it's probably just Duress and or Spell Bombs. Duress to get our stuff through. Again, unfortunately, Distemper doesn't look great here, nor do the Reavers. Of course, all the other ground creatures don't look great either, but they chump easier, and at least they don't take as much mana. Rites of Initiation, they didn't see, and so I think that could be just a good one to still get them with. So maybe just some Duresses and a Spell Bomb. This is not a type of deck I play a lot, so I'm not super familiar with the lines, at least the sideboard lines. This hand is decent, though. We can Duress and then Spellbomb, or vice versa. And then Carnarium. We have a Kitchen Imp for later. If they Delver of Secrets, then does that mean I want to Duress now, or does that mean I want to Spellbomb now? Duress, probably Duress, because that means that they are not necessarily going to be relying on... They're not necessarily going to be relying on Terrors, so the Spellbomb might be less relevant. Hydro, Blue Blast, Spell Pierce, Spell Pierce. Okay, so probably just a a Blue Blast, Hydro rather, and we just play around Spell Pierce. Their hand's not exceptional. If we just play around all of these cards, they do flip a Mental Note. That was pretty good. Also, they had one land. They just kept a one lander. All right. So I guess Spell Bomb I probably don't want to cast because it lets them Spell Pierce. If not, then they Mental Note. But I can maybe use it to bait a Spell Pierce later and then get like through a Red Blast. I don't think there's any point to letting their Spell Pierce go off, so let's just bounce this. They do Mental Note, hit a counterspell on a land. They find a land, good for them. So I only have one red mana, which is really awkward here. So I think I play a Spell Bomb. I think I play a Spell Bomb. They can't Spell Pierce it unless they want to double Spell Pierce it, which is honestly not great, because then they can get the Serpent down, but I think it's worth it. Or I could play the Epic here, and if they don't Blue Blast that, then I can get the Kitchen Imp out, which they might want to save the Blue Blast for, but it's also my only red mana. Actually, I guess that's probably better. Unfortunately, because this is stapled together, I have to use the thing right now. Oh, and the reason this is worse is if they do Blue Blast this, then if I Spell Pierce, or if I play a Spell Bomb, they can Spell Pierce. Whereas if I did it the other way, they couldn't. And I'm not going to let them Spell Pierce because then that means they get to... Oh, they're already... No, that's an island. Okay, they can't Cryptic Serpent yet. So we're just going to pass. Yeah, I was just hoping they wouldn't go for the Blue Blast. I think it's fair that they did. But if they didn't, then I get a Kitchen Imp down. That blocks the Aberration. They find the island. So I guess if they want to tap out for the Serpent, that means I can get a Grab the Prize Kitchen Imp down. They don't, which means I have all of these red spells, and any of them get Spell Pierced. So I guess I have to just play a Spell Bomb. If they do double Spell Pierce it, yep, that's what they're doing. Then they get the Serpent down. I guess that means I can Grab the Prize Kitchen Imp next turn if they don't have another Spell Pierce or Hydro, or I guess Counter Spell, because they have 2 mana now. But if they do, we just die. Play the Epicure. If they have a counterspell, it's the same thing, though. I guess if they don't, it allows me to chump block, which is maybe better. Sure. Let's play the Epicure. I mean, we're dead either way to a Pyro or a Hydroblast or a counterspell. That's fine. We'll discard the Kitchen Imp. Cast that. This also only draws us 1 card to find a land, which we don't. We're going to trade and chump. There's another Delver. Carnarium. So I can't Fiery Temper the Delver, which means we can just die if they flip this. I guess if I Vampire's Kiss, I don't die. And then next turn, I can Grab the Prize of Temper, and I also need to hit like another Epicure or some other blocker, but I guess that's decent. Let's just Kiss, play the Carnarium, and do I want to just dig through one of these with a blood token? I guess I could also use 2 of these to pick this off, so no. Because if I can get like a Fiery Temper this, and then like a chump blocker, and then next turn I can double Fiery Temper this, that's a way we can survive. They don't flip it. All right, play an island. Attack for 7. Pass. We get a Snacker. Of course, that's a tapped creature. I guess now I can double blood token this, and if they don't flip the Delver, we survive. But if I'm doing that, I only have 1 black mana to block or anything. We didn't bring in Dark Withering or Extract, which maybe we should. Yeah, I guess we will go for the Tempers on the Serpent. There's obviously nothing we can be playing around. I think if they draw nothing and they don't flip the Delver and we can survive, we might be okay. They float a blue, and then I think they realize, oh, they should only counter the second one. So it looks like they have something. They have enough blue that I don't think it's going to matter if we go to the second combat. We get a Razor Trap Gorge, so that means if we find like an Epicure, we can play that. But let's see if they have that counterspell. Yes, they do. All right, we draw Swamp. And I guess I'm curious to see if they were going to flip the Delver. Because if they didn't have the Blue Blast, and then they flipped the Delver anyway, I would still die. Well, they choose not to reveal. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. We die either way. So it's possible on the draw we should have brought some of these in. On the play, do we want them? This is 1 mana instant speed. Of course, 6 mana if we don't have the Madness, but ideally we do. Maybe that over the Spell Bomb's better. Although this is 3 mana against an actual Terror. Confess is just 2. Confess actually might be better for that reason. I think 2 on average is probably better than 1 and 3. The Duress didn't really do that much for us there. I mean, that was just because of their wonky draw, but maybe we just bring in a bunch of removal. I don't know, we're testing stuff out. Here we have, well, this is that wonky, like, turn 2 Rite of Initiation to discard everything hand, but we're against a counterspell deck, so that doesn't seem like it's going to work. And otherwise, we have no other way to discard cards. I think this is a mulligan, unfortunately. This one's okay. We need black mana. We'll get rid of one of these kisses. play another mountain. They're going to mental note. I could demand answers here, but I think I'd rather save it for when the Fiery Temper's up. They milled 2 creatures, which is good for us. We get a swamp. So I could just Vampire's Kiss, but they could even have just like a Spell Pierce for it. That doesn't seem very good. I think we'll pass. If they do tap out again here, I will go for the demand answers Fiery Temper, Cycle of Lorien, then mental note, ponder. So they're sitting at 4 spells. Still not amazing. We will go for the demand answers. Temper them. Another answers. Play an island. And they got the Delver. Another demand answers. That's all 3 of them. Could extract a confession here. I think I'm just going to Vampire's Kiss. We're playing around Spell Pierce and Hydroblast. If they want a full counterspell for this, that's fine. And they do. So I guess we'll demand answers while they're tapped out. Although we're not drawing any madness stuff now, so it's not great. Yeah, like now we get the Snacker and the Dark Withering. They flip the Delver, swing for 3, play a Serpent. So 1 mana, they probably can't stop this Extract a Confession from killing the Serpent. They probably have a Hydro for this demand answers, so using it to bin the Snacker could be rough here. So I think we just extract, and then if they tap out again at the end step, we can get them. But again, we're playing around Spell Pierce as well, which is why I don't want to like demand answers Dark Withering or anything. Jagged Barrens, and we'll pass. Would love a mental note here. They do go for it. Spell Pierce and Brainstorm. It is still our turn, so we're going to get the Snacker back. Double Epicure is fine. Actually pretty decent with the Dark Withering, because these are unassuming enough they probably won't get countered. There's a Serpent. Grab the Prize. They could still have the Pyroblast, so Grab the Prize seems rough, but let's do an Epicure, and then discard the Dark Withering, playing around Spell Pierce. We're going to take out the Serpent because I already have the Snacker for the Aberration. They could have a Dispel, but can't play around everything, and then I could at least grab the Prize. Now we'll Epicure, and they're going to Blue Blast this now. That's fine. I guess I'll get out another Epicure. We don't really want to be discarding these to the Grab the Prize, plus Grab is unlikely to resolve through a lot of their stuff. They go for a mental note, mill another Terror, Thought Scour, Sleep of the Dead. That's pretty decent. They're going to pass. Hopefully we get anything madness for this blood token. That's not madness. Do we just get rid of it? I guess probably not. I guess we'll just pass. Cycle of Lorien, and they pass. Razor Trap Gorge. Well, I think I should just start holding lands for Rites of Initiation. Thought Scour, Brainstorm Counterspell. There's a Terror. Kitchen Imp is pretty good. I mean, they could have Counterspell plus a Hydro, so I can't necessarily still get the Grab the Prize through, but it's also an attacker. Ooh, Extract a Confession. So like I can attack with the Kitchen Imp now. I'm not going to extract here because I want to play around Spell Pierce. I don't really want to play these out. Plus I have chump blockers. They could start like Sleep of the Dead on like Snacker or something, but that's fine. Every creature is pretty important for the Rites of Initiation. I think we'll take 1 hit. I don't love it with the Sleep of the Dead, but there's a Serpent. Faithless Looting. I guess maybe I should have just jumped with the Snacker, but my only way to draw cards is probably not going to resolve. Now I have 2 ways, so I can probably feel okay jumping with it. Let's extract. Just get rid of this Dark Withering. They do counterspell that. So I could grab the Prize, but that means I need to play around Spell Pierce, so I'd have to play a land and then discard another land, and then if they have the Hydro, it's pretty bad. Also, I'm not really dealing damage. I'm just turning these in for new cards. I think we'll just pass again. This time I'm going to chump with a Snacker and an Epicure. They Brainstorm. Let's block both of these. We get a Kitchen Imp, so I could grab the Prize Kitchen Imp. That's not terrible, but they're probably just going to counterspell it. I'm going to just start with the Faithless Looting. If they want to counterspell that, maybe we get to grab the Prize off. They do Hydroblast. I guess maybe we just flash it back to start. But I don't want to get got by Spell Pierce, so let's play this land. Flash back. They do Hydro that as well. Now I could grab the Prize. Maybe it plays around something, but probably not. Also, I can't actually Madness the Kitchen Imp at this point. Let's just pass. Now they Sleep of the Dead. I jump here. I go to 1. Yep. I will grab the Prize. See if they have the counterspell still. Cast a Kitchen Imp. Deals them 2. We draw a card. Fiery Temper. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. I could temper this, play Epicure, which blocks these 2, but they have a Sleep of the Dead, so that's not actually going to block. So I have to find, like, I've already used all 4 Epicures. Dang. I don't even know what I could find then with this Temper to go to face. So if I get a Rite of Initiation, I only have 1 card to discard, so they'll be at 6. I could deal 3. That's not going to do it. And my removal is all 2 mana at least. So that's not going to do it. I don't have another blocker. I guess Root Walla, but that doesn't. I can't cast that for free. I think I'm just dead, but we'll try to shoot this anyway. They have the Spell Pierce. We played around all game until I couldn't any longer. Another Temper, and we're going to die. All right, we once again have a hand that we could maybe Rite of Initiation on turn 2 for a big hit with a Kitchen Imp. We get a Root Walla, and then if we get like a draw 2 with a Snacker, we're gonna keep it. We don't know if we're against a counterspell deck, which is, you know, hopefully we're not. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. They're going to be in for quite the treat when we discard our entire hand, though. They're going to Roost Seek. I guess if they get a Swamp, they could just go for a Mesmeric Fiend next turn. They get a Forest. So they can't, because otherwise they could maybe take our entire hand. Well, we get a Mountain. Obviously, I could do it right now to get 1 Root Walla down, but I'd rather be able to attack with the Kitchen Imp and also get it on the field. Also having a follow-up of like a draw 2 or something for the Snacker could be pretty good. They get a Battlement, another Snacker. All right, so I haven't really thought the strategy of this through too much. If we do it, then if we draw a draw 2, if it's Faithless Looting, we can just do it right away and get the Snackers back. But if we draw 2, we actually won't have a card in hand, so I might actually write for just 5. But this is discard at random, so we don't get to choose. There is a world where we don't discard the Kitchen Imp, and that's really bad. But more than likely, we might just keep like 1 Snacker in hand, or a Mountain, or a Root Walla. In which case, though, if we draw the draw 2, we can actually use it right away. So I think that's what we do. And we just go for 5 and hope for the best. We kept the Root Wall in hand. That's not my favorite, but it's not as bad as keeping the Kitchen Imp in hand. Oh, apparently I forgot how this works. Okay, so this did not get pumped. So maybe that was bad. The discard's part of the resolution, which means that the Madness doesn't go in the stack until after. Okay, well, I misunderstood that because I didn't read it closely enough. So this actually didn't get pumped, meaning we did 5 less damage than I thought. It's still pretty good if we get to grab the prize off the top, but otherwise, kind of a rough spot. They do play an Axebane Guardian, and we get a Jagged Barrens. Even if our hand had like a draw 2, like since it's discard at random, we'd have to have gotten really lucky for that to not discard it. So like, there's not really a great way to do this and make sure what you want happens, you know? They play a Generous End. Well, that's gonna stall us a little bit. I mean, it's still decent if we get to grab the prize, we get 3 Snackers back, but it was a turn later than we really wanted it to, but we are about to go up to 5 creatures on board, so that's kind of cool. And we get a Faithless Looting. Gonna keep the Mountain in hand. I guess now we get our other Rites of Initiation, and it's really good, you know? They're gonna crack that food. I guess if I'm trying to do this kind of a wacky thing, maybe I should just be playing whatever the draw 3 and discard 3 at random is. They play a Fiend, so we're gonna lose our Faithless. I guess I knew that was coming, so maybe I should have just played it for last turn. Played our Mountain, played that. I go to 0 cards, basically. I don't know. But then I have a Faithless in our graveyard, which can get back the Snackers. I mean, we're going to attack. We lose a Kitchen Imp, but we get in for 6. It's got to be decent. They have a Masked Vandal, so I'm not going to be playing this Great Furnace. I will play a Mountain, though. They have a Caretaker. I'm pretty sure they have this Land Grant in hand. Every time they Land Grant and reveal stuff, it always is kind of a pain, so I don't know for sure. But we are going to attack with Snackers. We get in for 4, and ideally, eventually, we get a draw 2 and can bring them back. Also, we have a Barrens, so they go to 5 here. So, like, if they don't draw anything, like a Fiery Temper off the top wins it for us. They play a Vandal just as a blocker. Come on, not that. I'm going to attack for 2 in case they get another Reacher. This way, I can still just win off a Bolt, assuming I don't get... I mean, a Wildling or a Generous Ant gains them life, so it would have to be a Reacher that's not one of those, like a Jasper Sentinel or something. But yeah, definitely if I had that Faithless Looting in our graveyard, even if we discarded 2 random cards that we wanted, we would be in a better spot. We could bring them back and then have lethal on board next turn, and their Fiend would have done nothing. Dread Return a Troll. Okay, can live with that. Well, I guess we might as well just keep these at this point, in case we get a draw 2 and want to discard a bunch of cards. They're not drawing anything either, but the moment they drop a Spy or whatever, oh look, we're going to lose. Yeah, I think that not playing that Faithless Looting just lost us that game, unfortunately. Well, they have Vandals, but we get Spell Bombs, and pretty much it. Nothing else does anything exceptional. Distemper could catch them off guard if they block with like an Axebane Guardian or something. Scophos Reaver is a 4/3 that can block, that can attack into most things, not Generous Ent, but like a lot of the earlier stuff. It is just a little slower. Maybe I'm seeing why people don't play this. All right, we'll cut a couple of these for the spell bombs, but try to keep the rest intact. Actually, I think just a Root Walla, seeing as the Root Wallas get blocked easily. The Distemper helps them get through, but yeah, we'll do it that way. We're going to keep this one. Pretty unfortunate that Rites of Initiation play didn't work. Obviously, it not working the way we wanted is unfortunate. I'm going to Faithless right here because we can get a Snacker back next turn, worst case. I'm going to get rid of the Great Furnace because they have Masked Vandals. But if I want, I can bring back the Snacker this turn with the Faithless Looting. If I get a Swamp, I'm definitely going to do that. Without it, I kind of want to wait until I have the black for the Kitchen Imp. Another Furnace. Yeah, I think we gotta wait a turn. I don't want these two Kitchen Imps to just be stranded in our hand. Cycle a Troll, play a Battlement, Root Walla. We're gonna Faithless, another Snacker. Root Walla gets blocked, doesn't matter. So I think I'd rather just put the Snacker in the bin for the next turn, because I'm probably gonna flashback the Faithless Looting for another Kitchen Imp. And this way I also get the other Snacker. Attack for 2. It's possible this is one where we should also be bringing in the Dark Witherings. Usually removal is decent against this type of deck, but I was thinking, oh, we just want to go faster. But a little bit of interaction would probably be decent. We have Tempers, but those don't kill battlements and things. They find a Vitu-Ghazi Inspector, which is pretty annoying. That can be a 2/4 reach and gain them 2 life. A Caretaker, there's an Epicure. And I think we're just on Mountain. Flashback is Faithless, discard Kitchen Imp, and again Root Walla gets blocked. We did get a Temper, but I don't have the mana for it, so probably just another Snacker. Unfortunate that I didn't have the Temper. I guess it wouldn't really matter, but if I could hold it up, I could have used it against the Inspector in response to the trigger so that they could not gain the life and also just not have a blocker. But I mean, we also just have 4 flyers. They have 6-7 mana though, so they could maybe do that and a Generous Ent. Land Grant, okay. They already revealed these two. This always bugs out and does double, so this is their hand. And they play a Forest, so they have a Spy. Assuming they only have 4 lands in their deck, which I think is what they had last time. I guess they could just win with the Spy. Unless we have a Fairy Macabre, which is probably their thought process and what they might want to play around. They play a Wildling. Okay, I can shoot that, but yeah, they're probably also going to play the Inspector. They do. I guess they could make the Wildling bigger, but it probably makes sense just to make this bigger. Puts them both at the same toughness, and then it makes it so both of them can block in either of these. Bojuka Bog. I guess that would have been nice before for the Inspector. Let's play an Inspector and Blood Token, the Fiery Temper, to hit the Wildling. I mean, we're still just dead if they, unless we get a Spell Bomb, but they have a Masked Vandal and a Generous Ent. If they do just decide to go for the Spy. But we'll attack with everything. They eat a Kitchen Imp, and I could Bojuka Bog. That doesn't really matter, so I'll just play a Vampire's Kiss. They have a Healer of the Glade to gain them 3 life, and a Generous Ent to gain 3 life, plus they have 2 flying blockers now. I assume they're just trying to wait around as long as possible to find a Mesmeric Fiend. Let's just flashback Faithless Looting. Get rid of Snacker and Root Walla. I mean, if we can find a Rites of Initiation and that they don't go for the win, we can definitely get there with all our flyers. Play an Epicure, play a Jagged Barrens, and we could attack in. We could get in for 2, but we lose 2 flyers, so that doesn't seem very good. Let's pass. Another Healer of the Glade. That's their draw for the turn. And another Generous Ent, which they don't have the mana to crack either food. They do have 3 blockers, though, in the air, plus a bunch on the ground. So I guess this isn't going to be enough yet. So we'll crack that. Vampire's Kiss. Basking Root Walla. Let's Root Walla. I'm just hoping they wait 1 turn too many and we find the right cards. We get there. Demand Answers. Draws us 2. By discarding a card, although I want more cards in hand, so I actually might just sack the Blood Token. That gets the Snacker back. We have another Root Walla. Now we just have 9 creatures. This could be 10. Currently they only have 8, but they can play out a couple of these. I'm trying to figure out if I want to play a Vampire's Kiss to get the Root Walla down. I think I have to keep digging, so yes. We'll do that. And then pass. Well, they found the Fiend. They have a Caretaker, which makes black. So I assume now they will feel comfortable going for it. And we're going to draw a new card. So maybe it's a Fairy Macabre before they've chosen to target us. To maybe scare them out of targeting themselves. All right, they win the game. All right, we are looking for a win. I don't know if this hand is keepable. It looks bad because we don't have any way to discard. Feels like we have a lot of ways to discard in the deck, so maybe it'd be okay, but I'm going to get rid of it. Now we have a 1-lander. A little bit of both. Discard and cards we want to discard. But I think we'll mulligan this one too. This one is better. We can get the turn 1 double Root Walla, although that means I have to get rid of both Epicures or I have to get rid of a land. I don't really want to get rid of any of that. I guess land, I'll probably find another land with the looting, right? No, let's just do this. Ensure we have our lands. Double Root Wall on turn 1. There's no way they could win against that. There's just simply no way. Discard both of these. Cast a Root Walla. Cast a Root Walla. Like, I'm sure they're firing up the button to concede right now. There's a Cleric. Exile a Faithless Looting. Well, they didn't gain 2 life, so that's something. Well, I can't attack in and I can't Fiery Temper. But next turn they better watch out. I can Fiery Temper and then attack for 2. There's a Lembas. This could be Boros or it could be Orzhov, are my guesses. I don't think it's mono white. They do GlintHawk this back. I'm going to guess Boros probably. They attack for 1. We will grab the prize, discarding a Fiery Temper, kill the Hawk, deal him 2, and attack for 2. A lot of lands. They swing for 1. They play Darval. Okay. Maybe it is mono white and they're trying like a Darval mono white GlintHawk thing. That'd be interesting. Vampire's Kiss. I guess we just do this and then pick up a land. I'll pick up Bog. If they're mono white, I could see them playing like Prismatic Strands and stuff. I mean, even Boros plays those as we've seen before. So Bog could be decent. Potion of Healing. I was just going to say, I fear there's not enough cards, like artifacts in white to make mono white GlintHawk a thing, but obviously it's probably not quite as good as multicolored, but this is a pretty decent one. Also, basically food before food was a thing. Also, they just have so much life gain in their deck, so the perfect deck for them to go up against. Swing for 3 here. Jagged Barrens. I guess I'm going to sacrifice a... I'm going to discard a mountain here. And then, of course, we just drew 2. So now if I snacker, they're not going to come back. But I can snacker once, and then next turn I can blood token to get them back. Also, Kitchen Nip's pretty good. All right, we'll pass. I mean, we're doing okay. They do have a lot of life gain sitting on the field, which is kind of annoying. They're going to attack for 4. These Root Wallas also not doing quite what I need them to. Skyfisher, accept the Dawnbringer for more life. Or I guess probably exile the Snacker. Why isn't Dawnbringer seen more in the meta? Because this is crazy. I guess just particularly good against me. Discard a Snacker. Discard a Kitchen Imp. Get a Fiery Temper. So I can just take out the Skyfisher for full cost. Get in for 2. They attack for 4, play a Skyfisher, bounce a Plains for a Journey to Nowhere on the Snacker, plus crack their Potion of Healing, I guess. Faithless Looting is decent. Cast that. Scophos Reaver and a Fiery Temper. Although if I discard both of these, then I won't be able to grab the prize and deal damage this turn. So I guess I should discard the Fiery Temper and the Bajuka Bog to this. Deal 3 to the Skyfisher. Attack for 4. They're going to sack the Potion of Healing. Grab the prize with the Reaver. Madness that out. Deal him 2. We get a Rites of Initiation. So I'm not going to play my land. So next turn, I can give +3, +0 to our team, depending on how much life they gain, creatures they kill, and blockers they make. That might be enough. Also, we will get the Kitchen Imp. It will not get the buff, I know that now, but it will still be a 2/2 attacker. Of course, they have a Kabira Crossroads to gain some life, and a Great Sword of Tyr, but that doesn't... They're tapping out a Lembas, so they block here, and they're taking lethal, I think. Ooh, also Carnarium. Oh, actually, I can Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting from the graveyard doesn't make us go down in cards. So let's do that. And then it'll get the Kitchen Imp out first, which will mean it'll get the buff. Yeah, we should definitely have lethal here. Oh, double Kitchen Imp? Let's do that. Cast them both. Also, we can Carnarium to pick up a land. Attack with the team. They block here, They're still taking 7, so I might not have to show them the rights, but they have a lot of life gain in their deck. They could have Prismatic Strands and stuff. I'd rather not chance it. Let's just Rites of Initiation for +3/+0 to the whole team. Put them to -9. Very nice there. All right, Arms of Hadar. They have... I guess Arms maybe isn't great. They're a white deck, so I assume, but Darval, Skyfisher, and Dawnbringer all have 3 toughness. So maybe we just want, like, Dark Witherings. Nothing looked particularly good. I guess they are a GlintHawk deck. Generally, I like duress against GlintHawk decks, because if you can take the artifact they keep bouncing, then maybe they have to stop. So even though they're a creature deck, duress might be decent. Distemper, this is the match where it could be pretty good. Rites was good. Root Walla was not, because they had a lot of blockers. So maybe I swap those. I mean, they were good at the end with the Rites. To be honest, if they're spending a bunch of mana bouncing like a Lembas or something, it's not the end of the world. I think maybe we just send it back. I think we should be okay. All right, this hand is decent. We need some black mana, but ooh, Barons is good. I guess I'll just get that down. I did ask for the black mana, so let's not insult them by not playing it right away. Crimson Acolyte. Well, that is annoying, isn't it? I guess there's no reason to put down an Epic here at this point then, so let's just Vampire's Kiss, Kibera Crossroads, and a Potion of Healing. Swing for 1. Let's play a Mountain and just Faithless Looting. Kitchen Imp and a Fiery Temper. Pretty good. Attack them down to 14. GlintHawk for the potion. Bajuka Bog. Well, that's annoying. I still think they probably are just mono white because of the Potion of Healing. But it's possible they are black. But they could definitely just splash up Bajuka Bog. It's basically a colorless land with a good effect in a mono white deck. They have an Inspector too. Grab the prize. I'm gonna demand answers, discarding this Furnace. Get a Root Walla. Ooh, if I hold up Root Walla and they attack with this, I can like flash it in and block to trade. That's kind of cool. But they're not gonna attack unless I attack with this Kitchen Imp, so I don't really want to trade, but this being dead would be really helpful. So I think we will. They saw we had Root Wallas, but I think the chances they think about that are low and like don't attack because of it, but maybe. I don't know. We'll pass. This isn't doing a ton of good getting in anyway against all their creatures, so seeing this maybe is a reason to bring in Arms of Hadar. Plus we know they have Inspectors, which I already suspected. GlintHawks, you know, there are definitely enough ones to maybe make it worth it. They thought about attacking with the Acolyte and they decide against it, which is pretty annoying. I guess I can't Blood Token now. I mean, I could, but let's just grab the prize with it. But definitely annoying that they thought about it. Hit them for 2. We draw a couple. Play an Epicure and Mountain. Pass the turn. As long as they have white mana, any of their creatures can gain protection from red, so I can't really Fiery Temper their creatures. Not that that's where we want it to go anyway. We will just go face. But also it makes Distemper bad because they can just keep the guy alive even if I do trample over for a little bit of damage. We're getting a little flooded here, although we're also drawing decently with a lot of tempers and stuff. I guess I could go for Distemper on the Root Wall. They have Prismatic Strands here. Yep, I definitely thought they might have that. They should have waited until I cast it, because now I don't have to waste the mana. Kitchen Imp. Again, drawn pretty decently. Cast that. Swing for 2. I guess I'll Carnarium back the Barons. GlintHawk, the potion. So now if I can find an instant speed way to discard a card, I can use the Distemper on the Kitchen Imp if they block with the GlintHawk to trample over. They could then give protection from black, but at least my guy would survive. They suit up the Great Sword and swing in. They are tapped out of Crimson Acolyte, not of Prismatic Strands, but they're at 7. I don't have a way to take advantage of the fact that they're tapped out of this. I guess I have to just hard cast this on the Kitchen Imp attack. Then they can flash this back, but at least I get it used. Because I don't think they're going to let 4 damage go through and go to 3. Maybe. Since they have the Strands, they survive 1 bolt, but this makes it so they survive 2 bolts. Although I have Barons, and I have another Barons to put into 5. But they have the Potion of Healing to go up to 8. And Alembus. Crack the potion. Swing with the Inspector. I will take it. Another Snacker. I am not going to attack. I'm just going to ping him for 1. Pass. They crack a clue. Move the sword over since this guy's big enough. Fair enough. Tap the Kitchen Imp so I can't double block. They have another Potion of Healing. There's a Kitchen Imp. I will play it. We are just against the deck that has a whole bunch of main deck, life gain, and a graveyard I hate. Any white deck is kind of the worst for Rakdos Madness. And then obviously they've got some sideboard cards as well. But I expect 4 Lembas, 4 Potion of Healing, and at least 2 or 3 Dawnbringers to be all in the main deck. Trade with the GlintHawk, deal them 2. They crack the potion and a clue. They swing for 7 unless they have a way to pump it. We'll take it down to 2. They got Darval. Dawnbringer gains some more. And an Inspector. And we get a Root Walla, another card we can't cast. Alright, let's bring in Arms of Hadar and I guess Dark Withering for that guy. And this time we will go down the Root Wallas. I mean, that guy didn't actually change that much. Like, we could have attacked just about the same even if we had killed the Acolyte. We don't have a ton of burn going at their creatures. And yeah, I guess we look a lot scarier in red, but we only have 4 Fiery Tempers and then 4 Epicures and 2 Reavers to really give protection from. But Dark Withering seems like it could be okay anyway. Alright, we have Faithless Looting. It's not amazing, just because our mana's a little awkward. Skophos Reaver is going to come down a little late, but we can Vampire's Kiss on turn 2, and then start like pitching Snacker and Fiery Temper, and then Faithless Looting maybe. So it seems okay. We're not going to looting turn 1, I don't think. Gets a Snacker in the bin, but that's about it. Play a Mountain and pass. They've got an Inspector. We have another Snacker. Okay, well, next turn I can... If I like Faithless Looting this turn, I can get them both in the yard. But I can just Vampire's Kiss, which uses our mana better, And the next turn, I could just use both these blood tokens on snackers if I want to bring them both back. If we get like a land, maybe I'd prefer the Reaver out, but 2 snackers does seem pretty good. They play a Lembas and scry to the bottom. We get an Epic here. So yeah, let's discard a snacker and discard another snacker. We're looking for a land. We find it. It's a tap land, but getting 2 snackers out on turn 2, or 3 rather, is not too bad. And next turn I can go looting into double temper. No, because I only have 1 or 2 red. But I could do Skophos Reaver, maybe. They go for a Journey on a Snacker and a GlintHawk. That is annoying. I guess the first one going away is pretty annoying here. I can attack with this, and if they block, I just get it right back, so that's not the worst. Grab the prize is also kind of cool, but I think I want to get the creature going probably first. Attack for 2, and they don't block it. Even if we looting, we have a way to get the Snacker back next turn, so I think we'll just do this. Rites of Initiation. Okay. Well, that makes things interesting because I kind of want to keep our Epicures for blocker or for attackers for the Rites, but I only have so much red anyway. I think we can get rid of one of them. I don't want to get rid of the grab the prize for no gain. That seems bad. Reaver's pretty decent because it's kind of hard to block as a 4/3. Especially if I can like Fiery Temper a blocker pre-combat. They bog away a looting, which is annoying, but not really what I'm looking to use in the next turn or 2. Now they have the Crimson Acolyte, which is annoying. They start with the GlintHawk though. Kitchen Imp. Okay. I was going to just Fiery Temper them with the Grab the Prize, but obviously getting an extra creature down, especially one that's not red, is pretty nice because they have protection from the red creatures now. But hitting for 2 with the Grab the Prize, 4 with the Flyers, and then having a Rite of Initiation next turn is pretty decent. Also Jagged Barons. Of course, they do have a GlintHawk, but I can probably take that out pre-combat. Yeah, so I'm going to play a Jagged Barons. The Epic here I could play, but they have 2 blockers on the ground, so it doesn't really matter. I'd rather get the damage in. And I want to play the land, even though I want more cards in hand for Rites, because pre-combat I can do Rites, discard our whole hand, double Fiery Temper to clear blockers, and then get in for, like, 14 damage with the Flyers, which is pretty good. Yeah, so they have a Lembas, they have a Skyfisher, and they're probably going to hold up a white for this Acolyte. They return the Bog. That's fine. But yeah, I can clear both their blockers with the Fiery Tempers and then get in for lethal. Ooh, and we can distemper for trample. That actually probably won't matter. I guess it could be more damage on the Skophos Reaver. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. So we're going to actually play a land, which makes the Rites slightly worse, of course, but it means our Skophos Reaver is going to be able to deal all of its damage. If they had Prismatic Strands here, I would not be doing this. But they don't. So Rites of Initiation. We have a whole bunch of Fiery Tempers. Oh, I forgot a little bit that they have a protection for one of these, right? They can protect the Skyfisher or the GlintHawk, but I'm going to give Trample to one of these, and one of them will still die, so it shouldn't matter. So I'm going to Fiery Temper the GlintHawk. They're going to give it protection. So I went for that one first because it has less toughness. Although I'm going to distemper on the Skophos Reaver because it has, even though they have protection from red, this has 10 power now and trample. And then I get to Fiery Temper the Skyfisher, which means one of these is going to get through. And then we can attack with everything and hit for 6 plus everything trampling over the 10, which should be 7. So 13 damage. Not quite as much as I was anticipating, but 13 is still a lot. Trample over. Boom. Oh, 15. They didn't block with the Inspector. All right, we won the match. That feels like, obviously this is a little off meta, as is ours. It's kind of a cool list. I like the mono white. I feel like they are missing out on not having additional colors for artifacts, but I think it's kind of cool. And it was nice to see Distemper actually doing something cool. 1 swamp is not going to cut it. This one's decent. We'll get rid of 1 looting, I think. They have a Tomb Raider with no haste is nice. We just have a Bog, which is equally embarrassing of a start. I don't know about that. They have a Burning Tree. Let's see how bad the follow-up is. Reckless Impulse, not the worst. Furnace and Synth. Ideally, the Synth hits a land, and then they waste a card. Also, they didn't hit an artifact here, so they just attack in for 1. Not too bad for us so far. Another Carnarium. So I could Carnarium here, and then next turn I could Furnace and Faithless Looting with Kitchen Imp and Fiery Temper. It's the most efficient. We're taking a lot of damage here, but I could just Faithless and like Fiery Temper one of these. No, I can't because I don't have double red. I could Furnace and Kitchen Imp as a blocker. I think I probably want to do that. Well, yeah, I think we'll do that. Kitchen Imp, and we get a Barons. Do we need a Carnarium? 2 Carnariums? Probably not. Let's just get rid of one of them. Play a Kitchen Imp, and we're just gonna, I guess we're supposed to win this matchup, I think, because we're supposed to be equally damaging, but we have life gain. But that's with the original version, and ours is a little jankier. I think we'll block. Also, if they can't get an artifact, oh, they have artifacts right here, so they're going to get an artifact. But theoretically, if they couldn't get an artifact, this could hold back this as well as block here, which could be cool. They do play the synth, and they do get a land. Hey, look at that. That's a waste. I'll block the burning tree. That's obviously why I didn't attack, but if they want to bolt this, that's fine too. Also, I could have gotten in for 2, but if they play like a rally, get in for 6, it doesn't seem like a very good trade. If they play a bushwhacker, I block and they still get in for 6. That doesn't seem, or 5, I guess. That doesn't seem great, but it's better than getting in for 8 if we don't block. So yeah, those are the reasons. There's the bushwhacker. All right. I do not regret my decision. Generally, you always want to block the Burning Tree Emissary. Once the Emissary is on the field, it is just strictly better than a Tomb Raider, because haste doesn't matter after the first turn, and this theoretically could lose a power if they, like, lose artifacts and stuff. I mean, it doesn't matter a ton, but it's, you know, just generally good principles. I think we're just doing Vampire's Kiss and Jagged Barrens here. I could grab the prize, but I want to save that for when I can actually pay for the madness, and I could Carnarium, but I might as well get a damage in, I think. And this way I have 2 of either color as opposed to 2 of one color and 1 of the other. They get in for 3. They crack the synth after playing a land, but they turn up a Galvanic Blast. Oh, they don't have Metalcraft now that they sacked the synth, so that's 2 damage, but it's not 4, which is nice. We're still dying, but, you know, gotta take consolation prizes where I can. I guess I grab the prize with a Fiery Temper. I could do the same with a Kitchen Imp, but then if they have a removal spell for that, then it's just kind of worse. So Fiery Temper and shoot the Samurai, which is strictly better than the Tomb Raider in 2 ways. And I'll play a Carnarium. I guess we'll pick up the Barrens because I already have an untapped land. Swing with a Percussionist, so we're down to 7. They got 3 cards in hand. It's not too hard for them to have a Galvanic and a Bolt here. They did not, though, so I can Kiss and then hold up a blood token to get a Flash Kitchen Imp as a blocker. I could do the other Kiss, but we didn't die at 7, so I think 9 plus a blocker is pretty decent. And if I can eat one of their guys, it's, you know, better, I think. Or if I have to eat a Bolt there, that's fine too. They do Galvanic Blast and Blast again while we're tapped out. All right, well, I guess they probably top decked one of those because otherwise they would have just won before. We'll block here and we will take lead. And the Festivities, Cast into the Fire, and Arms of Hadar, since they're go wide. We don't have any life gain other than what's in the main deck, which is, I guess, just Vampire's Kiss because we're not playing Alms of the Vein, which is probably worse than this one. I think we're getting rid of these because these are a little slow, but Basking Root Wall can block, and Rites of Initiation can maybe take back the initiative, so to speak, not the actual keyword. Alright, this one is okay. We get Epicure turn 1, potentially nothing turn 2 with this Carnarium. Then turn 3 we can like grab the prize Temper, Looting Temper, and maybe Kitchen Imp if we find that, something like that. Since we're on the play, we'll probably try to be a little more aggressive rather than going for the defensive plays. They have a Percussionist. So I guess if we're going more aggressive, we should probably not trade if they swing. I think we probably still do, though. We don't have anything on turn 2, probably. And this is 1 damage a turn, but it could be more with like a Bushwhacker or something. They turn up a Mountain. Jagged Barrens. So I could do that, but then we don't definitively have 3 mana on turn 3. So let's just do this. I'm not going to use this blood token this turn, or the Faithless. There's a rally. We just get a Mountain. I'm gonna grab the prize, Fiery Temper, deal 5 to them. We get a Vampire's Kiss. I mean, decent life gain, but we kind of need something to discard with all these cards. All these blood tokens and whatnot. They have an Epicure, a Tomb Raider, swing for 4. Jukabog is irrelevant. I guess I just double Vampire's Kiss here, and we gotta take probably 1,000,000 damage, and then hopefully next turn we can draw something decent. But we're getting a little flooded, 6 lands, and just all of our discard effects with very little madness. There's a Burning Tree Emissary. Discard a Mountain with the blood, looking to see if they can get like a Bushwhacker, and just using the mana that they have, the green, that they can't use in most of their spells. Alright, they whiff on anything relevant. Also, they lost an artifact, so they actually only deal 4 here. Pretty good. Arms of Hadar off the top would actually be really good for us. Kitchen Imp is not bad. I'm going to Faithless Looting. This keeps us open to, if we get an Arms of Hadar, I can use it this turn. Whereas if I go for a Blood on the Kitchen Imp, I can't. And I think Arms of Hadar is one of our best cards and maybe best way of winning this game. And the Festivities is good. It doesn't kill these 2, but obviously I'll still take it. So Kitchen Imp and Bog. We'll cast this. Since we're playing the red anyway, we might as well just do this here. And the Festivities. And now we have 1 more damage, 2, 3, 4/5 potentially. Put them to 4, and they only have 3 currently on the crackback, so I think we attack, play the Jagged Barrens, and then use blood tokens to cycle through lands to try to get a good spell for the grab the prize. We already know they didn't have a Bushwhacker, they didn't have a Rally at the Hornburg, so it's probably just burn and more lands they have in hand. If they want to spend a burn spell on the Kitchen Imp, that's fine. They do. Alright, so Barrens, they go to 8. We also have a Faithless in the graveyard we can still use. They swing for 3. Pass the turn. We're gonna blood through this Great Furnace since we have a whole bunch of blood. Cast into the Fire doesn't do a lot, so that's, I guess, a fine one to discard with the grab the prize. They don't have any artifacts, it doesn't kill these, so let's just get rid of it. If we get Madness stuff, we have plenty of bloods to use. For example, we can Kitchen Imp and Fiery Temper. That doesn't actually kill them though, that puts them to 1, which means we might just want to save them. Like Kitchen Imp I might want to block with, because if we put them to 1 but they hit us for 3 and then have the bolts, we kind of die. If I find another Fiery Temper, then that would just win the game. Although I have to make the decision if I want to shoot them or this first. I think we'll just go for them. It means a Fiery Temper wins the game, but also if not, we can Kitchen Imp to block here. Already gone through, I guess this is our second Fiery Temper, so we still have 2 left. We don't hit it. Yeah, I just don't think there's a reason to put them to 1, so let's just hold this up as a flash blocker. Obviously, if we put them to 1, the next turn with the Kitchen Imp, we have them dead. Whereas if we do it this way, and we draw like 4 duds in a row, we might not, but I think it's just too risky to go for that. So flash Kitchen Imp. They might also spend a bolt on this, which could be good. They do go for the bolt. They do bolt the Kitchen Imp. We draw Faithless, so that digs more. We're gonna take 3. That means they can't have lethal on us, I don't think, because if they already had lethal, they would have just let us block. Plus we know a couple other cards are probably not great. Maybe duds. Unless they just had overkill. Tomb Raider, they have 2 cards in hand. Vampire's Kiss puts them to 1, which I guess with Kitchen Imp would be lethal, but obviously that's result-oriented thinking. Let's Faithless Looting, just see what we turn up. Snacker and Great Furnace. Blood through a mountain. If I find a Fiery Temper, demand answers. I can demand answers, sack this blood. Then even if we get a Fiery Temper, we can't win this turn. Still think it makes sense to do grab the prize. Okay. So I could Vampire's Kiss. Let's pop out our graveyard, because I could Vampire's Kiss here, and then we can't win because this turn, but we gain 2 life, so it's safer. Or I could grab the prize with the Vampire's Kiss. We have 2 draws to hit, and Epicure is our only way to deal a damage for a red mana. Or no, and End the Festivities is another. Or did we only have 1 End the Festivities in the deck? There is only 1 End the Festivities, so we've already gone through that. We've only used 1 Epicure though, so we have 2 cards to hit, 1 of 3 Epicures. Or I could Vampire's Kiss. I go up to 9. I take 4 down to 5, and they just need 2 bolts. They haven't played lands recently. It feels like they probably have a couple bolts. I think we're gonna grab the prize. I mean, this way we're dead to 1 bolt if we don't, but I think this is safer. And we find the Epicure. Oh my gosh, we got there. That was intense. All right, paid off. And I think we just send it back. I don't think we want anything else. That was clutch. Let's see if we can get there again. That was on the play, so it's going to be tough on the draw, especially with no lands. Oh, we just go to discard and we start discarding root wallas and things for free. It's a good strat, right? This one's okay. Get rid of 1 looting, I guess. Take 2 off the Tomb Raider. The Tomb Raider. Ping him for 1. Next turn I can like demand answers, root walla, or I can just Faithless. The double Tomb Raider Percussionist start is definitely brutal. You don't love to see it. Carnarium. I think I just got a Faithless Looting here. Root walla. I guess Kitchen Imp's gonna be more expensive. I think we get rid of this other Jagged Barrens, and then we Carnarium, pick this up and pass. I guess we trade the Root Walla for the Percussionist, probably, because we're just dying way too quick. And then I can Epicure Kitchen Imp. Yep, there's a Bushwhacker. Well, we'll trade for the Bushwhacker, but we take 8. We're down to 5 already. They still have 3 cards in hand. I mean, if this isn't the perfect start, I don't know what is. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just have to Epicure Kitchen Imp for blockers and then hope they have no burn in hand. They didn't play a land, though, so the chances they have nothing at all in hand are very low. It's usually got to be burn, creatures, or lands, since that's the whole deck. I guess it could be synths into bad draws, like 2-drops and stuff, but I am prepared to die here. It is turn 3 and I'm at 5 life through a blocker. If someone tells you Pauper isn't high power, they're crazy. They just Galvanic Blast us and Lightning Bolt. They don't even want to go to combat. Well, that's just rude. You're a combat deck. Well, unfortunately, we didn't really turn up a great record. I do think that the Skophos Reaver is probably just too expensive for 2 mana, so that's not great. And the Distemper was interesting one time, but I think it's probably just too narrow. However, I think Rites of Initiation could actually be pretty interesting, and Rootwalla or some other creatures to keep your creature count high would be necessary with the Rites. So maybe you cut these 4, bring back in your 4 Lightning Bolts, your 4 Alms of the Vein, something like that. But didn't work out quite as I was hoping, but I still hope it was an enjoyable video. Maybe I'll have to play some more actual Rakdos Madness at some point, or just tune this deck up a little bit. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to my $10 supporters: Howard Granger, Laars, JMW, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Jason Golombuski, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, and Ill Intent. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all next time.